class. So in GPS 36, we're going to look at multi-step factoring. So in this GPS, basically what we're going to have to do now first is factor out the GCF, okay, the greatest common factor. So let's look at the first problem here. So we have 3x cubed times y minus 3xy cubed. Now, how many terms do you see? Well, right now there's two terms, right? So if you remember from the previous GPS, when we see two terms, how do we factor two terms? We use difference of squares. Right? Remember that? Where you would have like parentheses, 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 and then you take the square root of, all the numbers and stuff, right? So that's generally how we want to factor this problem, okay? But from now on, before we do any kind of special factoring, right, you always want to factor out or pull out the GCF, the greatest common factor, okay? So if I talk about the GCF, which we did in the previous GPSs, right, the GCF is the greatest common factor. So the first thing you want to do is pull out the GCF. So I'm going to look at this term, I'm going to look at this term. What's the GCF here? Remember, I looked at the numbers. What number can I pull out from both those terms? I can pull out 3, right? And then I look at the variables. Remember, you can always factor out the variable with the smallest power. So I have an x cubed and I have an x1. So which one has the smallest power? x1. I'm going to pull out x1. And then I look at the y's, right? So if I look at the y's, I have a y1 and I have a y cubed. So what's the smallest power I can pull out? y1, right? So that is my GCF. That's the greatest common factor, the GCF. So if I pull out the GCF, what's left over? Well, the 3, remember it's going to be 3 divided by 3. That's going to be 3 divided by 3, which gives us a 1. So I don't have to write anything, right? So it's just a 1, imaginary 1. And then I'm pulling out x to the 1 power, correct? Let me make my cursor. Okay, yeah. So now I have an x cubed, and I'm pulling out x1. So what am I going to get? I'm going to get a x squared. Right? X squared left over. Okay? Remember this? We did this before. So now I'm pulling out y1, and there's a y1 here. So how many y's are left? No more y's, right? I pulled out all the y's. Y's are gone. And then minus, okay? And same thing, I'm pulling out a 3, and there's a 3 here. So any more 3's? No more 3's, right? It's an imaginary 1. There's x1 here. There's one x here, and I'm pulling out one x. So what happens? No more x's. But over here, I have y cubed, right? And I'm pulling out one y. So how many y's are left? Y squared. Right? Two y's are left. So I'm left with the y squared. Okay? Now, if you distribute 3xy back in, you get the same thing as before, right? So now, so you see the first step is to pull out the GCF, okay? So this guy is our GCF. That's called the greatest common factor. Now, what do you notice? Now, isn't this guy familiar here? This x squared minus y squared, right? Isn't that familiar? That is a difference of two squares, right? So what happens now? I'm going to use parentheses, 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 right? Just like we did in the previous GPS. And what do? We divide the power. We divide the power by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, so it becomes x1 minus divide the power by 2, so it becomes y1. And what's the other one? It's going to be x plus y, right? Same thing. Okay, and then what do? Finally, you bring down your GCF. Okay, so your last step after you factor is to bring down the GCF. 3xy. And that is our final answer. Okay, that is fully factored form. All right, so let's look at another problem. So pretty much same thing as before. The only thing I'm adding now is that you're pulling out the GCF first before you do any of the other special factoring. Okay, so let's look at this problem. So again, before I do anything, I'm going to first look and see if I can factor out the GCF. So look at all the numbers now. I'm looking at 2, I'm looking at 10, I'm looking at 12. What number can go into all three of those? 2, right? So I'm going to pull out a 2. Now I'm looking at the variables. I have an x squared, I have an x1. and there's no x here. Can I pull out the x then? No, I can, right? I have to be able to pull out the variable from all of them. So I can't pull out any x's. How about the y's? This is y1, y1, and y1. So I can pull out a y, right? I can pull out y1. So I can pull out y1 from all of them, right? So I can pull out a 2y. What happens when I pull out 2y? I'm going to be left with x squared, right? The 2 divided by 2 is a 1. X squared is still here. I pulled out 1y, no more y's. Plus 10 divided by 2 is a 5. X is still there. I pull out the y, no more y's. Plus, and then positive 12 divided by 2 is a 6. And no more y, right? I pulled the y out, so no more y's. Okay, so after I pull out the GCF, so again, this is our GCF. Okay, I'm left with this guy now. I'm left with x squared plus 5x plus 6. Now, that should look familiar to you, okay? That's trinomial, right? So how do I factor this? AC method, remember? So yeah, I need to use AC method here, okay? Now, students always get confused about what to do with the 2y. So you don't do anything with the 2y, okay? You ignore the 2y for now. The 2y goes on vacation, all right? You're going to bring him back later. So now let's just focus on our trinomial here, okay? Focus on this. Now, how do I factor this? AC method. So it'll be 1 times 6. So I have a 6, right? What are factors of 6? 1 and 6, 2 and 3, right? Remember, this tells me to add. So I got to add to make a 5. So I got to use 2 and 3. So what do? I'm going to rewrite x squared here. And I got to make a 5x. So it's going to be a plus 2x plus 3x. Make sure that that is 5x. And then I'm going to bring down my plus 6. And then my group factor. What can I factor from the first two? I can pull out an x. What's left over? X plus 2. What can I factor out from here? I can pull out a plus 3. What's left over? X plus 2. What's in common? X plus 2 times x plus 3. And now, don't forget about your friend. He comes back from vacation, 2y. Okay? And there you go. That is your final answer, fully factored form. Okay? So again, what do we do for this problem? All right, you first factor out the GCF first, right? Then you see how we're going to factor it, right? 3 terms, I use AC method. Okay, let's look at another problem. All right, so let's look at these guys. So again, GCF first. What can I factor out from here? I have 10 and I have 14. What number goes into both of them? 2. Okay, I'm going to pull out 2 from all the numbers. Now look at the variables. I have A1, A1. So that means I can pull out A1. Okay, now look at the B's. I have B1, I have B squared. So what's the smallest power I can pull out? B1. Okay, I can pull out 2AB. Now what happens when I pull out 2AB? I'm going to be a 10 divided by 2, which is going to be 5. I pull out an A, no more A's. I pull out a B, no more B's, right? Plus 7, I'm pulling out an A, no more A's. And then now there's a B squared here, so I'm pulling out one of the B's. So then I just get B. Now here you might see 2 terms. You might want to think about using difference of 2 squares. But remember, that's a plus, so you can't use it, and they're not perfect squares. 5 and 7 are not perfect squares. So that's it. You can't do anything here. The only thing you can do here is pull out the GCF. That was it. Okay, remember, you want to think about using difference of 2 squares here, but I can't, right, because it's a plus. Okay, why are we using difference of squares? Because there's 2 terms, right? Remember that? 2 terms, use difference of squares. Okay, so let's look at the next one. So the next one, we're going to look at 3, 21, 36. What number can I factor out from all 3 of them? I can pull out 3, right? 3 goes into all of them. And I can't pull out any x's because this last one doesn't have an x. So I can't pull out any x's. So that's it. I can only pull out 3. So if I pull out 3, I'm going to get x squared minus 7x plus 12, right? Remember, I'm dividing them all. Now, how many terms do I see? I see 3 terms, right? 1, 2, 3. Okay, remember that, so I gotta use AC method. And remember this 3 here, right? He goes on vacation, okay? So you're gonna ignore him. Ignore that, ignore this 3 for now. we're going to focus on just this trinomial here. We're going to use AC method. So what's the number in the front of x squared? A 1. So it'll be 1 times 12, which is 12. List factors of 12. 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4, 6 and 2, right? Oh, well, 6 and 2, we have that already, actually. Yeah, so that's it. Now, this is a plus, so that means I need a plus to make a negative 7. Which one of these plus gives me a 7? 3 and 4. So what do? I'm going to bring down my x squared. Okay, I got to make a negative 7, so it must be negative 3x, negative 4x, and then bring down my plus 12. Root factor. What can I factor from the first two? I can pull out an x. What's left over? X minus 3. What can I factor out from these two? I can pull out a negative 4. What's left over? X minus 3. What's in common? X minus 3 times x minus 4. Am I done? No, I'm not. Why not? Don't forget your friend that went on vacation. The 3, right? You always got to bring down that 3. Okay, that's your final answer. So this is the factored, fully factored form. Okay. All right, let's do it. All right, so maybe you want to pause the video for now and try the next problems on your own. And after you're done, come back and check. All right, so let's do the rest. Okay, so same thing. When I first pull out GCF, what's the GCF? Looks like 5, 20, and 105, right? So it looks like I can pull out 5. So I pull out a 5, what's left over? X squared minus 4x minus, what's that give me? 21. Okay, right, I can't pull out any variables, right? There's no x here, so I can't pull out an x. Okay, you have to be able to pull the number or variable out from all the terms. So keep that in mind. And now, how many terms are there? 3 terms, right? So what do? AC method. 1 times 21. 1 times 21 is 21. What are factors? 1 and 21. 2 doesn't work. 3 and 7. And that's it, right? So now what do? I gotta subtract here. I gotta subtract to make a negative 4. Which one subtract gives me a 4? 3 and 7. So what do? I rewrite the first term, x squared. How do I make a negative 4? It must be a plus 3x and a minus 7x, and then minus 21. Root factor. What can I factor from the first two? I can pull out an x, that's x plus 3. What can I factor from the next two? I can pull out negative 7, that is x plus 3, right? You should be able to do this by now. I get x plus 3 left over, and then x minus 7. Don't forget about your friend. 5. And there you go. All right. Let's look at the next one. So same thing. Look at the numbers. I have a 6, 50, 36. What number goes into all of them? I think it's going to be a 3, right? 6 doesn't go into 50. So yeah, it must be 3. Okay, now I look at my variables. I have an x squared here. I have an x here. No x's here, so I can't pull out any x's. Okay, so get the x's and do x's. But I have a y1, y1, y1. So there you go. I can factor out a y. What's left over when I do that? I'm going to get 2x squared minus, oh wait, sorry, wait a minute. Yeah, wait, 3 doesn't go into 50. Oopsie, made a mistake. Yeah, 3 does not go into 50, so I can't factor out a 3. I can factor out 2 though, right? Yeah, 2 would work. 2y, so we're going to pull out 2y. So that's going to give us a 3x squared minus, negative 50 divided by 2 is a negative 25x, no more y's, right? And then minus that, and then 36 divided by 2 is going to give us 18. No more y's. All right. Okay. This looks like a big number. So now we gotta do AC method, right? We have 3 terms in here. So 2y goes on vacation. We have 3x squared minus. We have 3x squared minus 25x minus 18. AC method, 3 times 18. What's 3 times 18? 2 lazy. 3 times 18 is 54. So we're gonna have 54. List the factors of 54. 1 and 54. 2 and 1. 2 and 27. 3 and 18. 4 doesn't work. 6 and 9, right? So remember, look at the sign here. We need to subtract to make a 25. Which one subtract gives me 25? 2 and 27. Subtract gives me 25. So there you go. So we're going to have, bring down the 3x squared, 3x squared. How do I make a negative 25? I'm going to need a positive 2x and a negative 27x, right? That's going to give me, so this guy is going to give me negative 25. Right, now bring down my negative 18. Okay, group factor. What can I factor from the first two? I can factor out an x. What's left over? 3x plus 2. What can I factor from the next two? And negative 9. What's left over? 3x plus 2. What's in common? 3x plus 2 times x minus 9. And don't forget about your friend that went on vacation. 2y. Okay, let's go on to the next one. How many more do we have left? Okay, one more left. So same thing. Pull out the GCF, which is here is seems to be 4, right? Only 4 can factor out. So pull out 4. I'm left with x squared plus 2x plus 1. So I have 3 terms. AC method. 1 times 1 is 1. What factors of 1? 1 and 1. I gotta add to make a 2. So 1 and 1. So what am I gonna get? X squared. 4 goes on vacation. Bring down the x squared. Plus x, right? Because I gotta make 2x, so it must be x plus x. Plus 1. Group, 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 group. What can I factor from the first two? X. What's left over? X plus 1. What can I factor from these two? Nothing. So I gotta pull out a plus 1. I get x plus 1. What's in common? X plus 1 times x plus 1. Bring down the 4. There you go. Okay, always forget to bring down your friend. The 4 that you factored out, the GCF, right? Okay, next one. I can factor out a 6. So first pull out the 6. What's left over? X squared plus 4x minus 12. Okay, AC method, right? 1 times 12, which is 12. What are factors of 12? 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. I need to subtract to make a 4. Which one subtract gives me 4? 2 and 6. So rewrite the first term. I gotta make a plus 4 by subtracting. So it must be negative 2x plus 6x minus 12. Right? Double check. Does negative 2x plus 6 give me positive 4? It does. Group, 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 group. What can I factor from the first two? I can pull out an x, x minus 2. What can I factor from the next two? Positive 6, x minus 2. What's in common? X minus 2 times x plus 6. And then don't forget your friend that went on vacation. Bring down the 6. 2. Okay, I forgot to do it here actually. 2. Alright, that's the answer, fully factored. Let's look at the next one. Alright, so same situation. What can I factor from here? Oh, let's see. It looks like does 30? No, 30 doesn't work. Oh, I think it looks like I can only do a 10. So I can factor out 10. And I can't pull out any x's. I can pull out a 10y, right? They all have y's. So I'm going to get 6x squared plus 11x plus 5. Okay? And again, AC method, right? 6 times 5, which is 30. So what are factors of 30? 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 5 and 6. I think that's it, right? And I gotta add, okay, add to make 11. Which one of these add gives me 11? 5 and 6. So therefore, rewrite the first term, 6x squared plus 5x plus 6x, right? And make sure that that gives you 11x, and then plus 5. What do you do? Group, 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 group. What can I factor from the first two? I can pull out an x. What's left over? 6x plus 5. What can I factor from the last two? Nothing. So I can only pull out a plus 1. What's left over? 6x plus 5. What's in common? 6x plus 5. What's left over? X plus 1. And don't forget about your friend, 10y. Okay, that's our final answer. All right, let's look at the last one. So this one, can I pull out a GCF? What number goes into 5, 14, and 3? Nothing, right? Yeah, you can't pull out any GCF here. No number can go into 5, 14, and 3. So in this situation, you can't pull out a GCF. So if I can't pull out any GCF, you go straight into DC method factoring, right? DC method. 5 times 3 is 15. What are factors of 15? 1 and 15, 3 and 5. That's it, right? I need to subtract to make a negative 14. Which one subtract using negative 14? 1 and 15. So rewrite the first term. So 5x squared. And I gotta make a negative 14. So it must be a plus 1x minus 15x minus 3, right? Group, 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 group. What can I factor from the first two? An x, what's left over? 5x plus 1. What can I factor from the last two? Negative 3. What's left over? 5x plus 1. X in common, 5x plus 1. What's left over? X minus 3. And that's it, right? No friend to bring down. So that's it. We didn't factor any GCF in the beginning, so no friend to bring down. Okay? And that's it. So again, if you have any, you got lost anywhere, just replay the video, pause when you need to. If you have any questions, post on the discussion forum, and I'll see you guys next time.